Hello and welcome to The Real World. My name is Cameron. Thank you so much for joining us right here on The Real World YouTube channel. If you're a movie fan, you're in the right place. I'm joined by my brother Carson. How you doing?
Doing well. Glad to be here. Talk about Sam Raimi.
That's right. This episode is about our top 5 Sam Raimi movies. Evil Dead Rise is now in theaters, so let's get started. Groovy. Thanks so much for joining us. If you are returning, we appreciate the support. If not, we would appreciate a like. We would appreciate a subscribe. We would appreciate hitting that bell so you get notified of all our videos. Again, we're talking about Sam Raimi today, so we're going to jump in. As we usually do, we're starting with movie news. All right, so we're starting things off with movie news, as we usually do. Want to keep you informed of all the new movie stuff that's coming up. The big one that dropped this week, did you see this teaser trailer?
For what?
For Godzilla vs. Kong 2?
Ooh, I saw a brief snippet of it. I don't think I saw the whole thing, but it was Kong on his throne.
Okay.
All the bones on the floor, panning out. I didn't see what it panned out to, but...
It pans out to, that's not Kong.
It's not Kong.
Because it pans out to Godzilla's skull and Kong's skull at this guy's feet. So this is a new Kong. I don't know if it's the Son of Kong, because they talked about doing the Son of Kong movie for a while.
Godzuki.
If it's like
got a new Godzuki.
It's Son of Kong, you know, Kang. I don't know what they'll call him, but
yeah, Kang the Conqueror.
Some have theorized it's actually Gargantua, because there's that movie War of the Gargantuas.
Okay. There is, huh?
Yeah, have you not seen this?
No.
You need to watch War of the Gargantua. It's one of the best monster movies.
It's just like the 50-foot woman or whatever?
It's like two King Kongs fighting, basically.
Oh, okay.
It's two big ape creatures. So that's the theory. We don't know who this new character is. We do know the title to Godzilla vs. Kong 2. The title is Godzilla X Kong, The New Empire.
Godzilla times Kong equals the new empire.
Right. Or Godzilla by
I've never seen,
other than crosses Kong. Right. I don't know what the X is.
Yeah. The only other movie title that sounds more like a math equation is Fast and Furious.
Right. Or Triple X.
Or Triple X, yeah, right?
Anything
solved for X.
But this is coming out March 15th, 2024. So it'll be a birthday movie for me around my birthday time. Adam Wingard is returning to direct. He directed Godzilla vs. Kong, and I thought he did a great job with that. I had a ton of fun with it. He also did a really cool little thriller called The Guest with Dan Stevens, which is a lot of fun. So I'm very curious about the expansion of the MonsterVerse, you know, which kicked off with Godzilla in 2014 and continued with Kong versus, or Kong Skull Island.
Yep.
Godzilla King of the Monsters.
Is that a monkey?
Right, exactly. So, yeah, I'm curious to see what they do, how they expand the lore and the mythology, and what happens there. Dan Stevens is coming to star in the cast, as well as Brian Tyree Henry, who is in Godzilla vs. Kong, as well as Rebecca Hall, who is also in that film.
Millie Bobby Brown?
No word on Millie Bobby Brown. Transformers is getting a new animated movie released theatrically.
Whoa, this is new.
This is a big deal. This is coming out July 19th, 2024. So this has been in development for a while.
This is Rise of Beast is still coming out.
Rise of Beast is coming this year. I don't know if this is going to tie in, but they said it's going to explore Cybertron and the origins of Optimus Prime and Megatron and this whole how this whole war between Autobots and Decepticons started.
Yeah, they touch on that a little bit in the original series. I know.
Right.
There's some interesting episodes there with Prime and what a Prime is. And the Transformers universe is so expansive. We've only touched the iceberg of what is possible in the movies, but
definitely,
yeah.
So I'm excited about that. Again, coming out next summer. So we'll have to see. Wait for a trailer. I don't know what the animation style is. I'm guessing it's 3D CG probably. And
yeah, Transformers Prime I think was the last Transformers show I remember watching. That was all 3D CG. So.
Yeah, interesting. Next bit, and not really news, but just some info I wanted to share, something I got a lot out of this week. The Russo brothers Pizza Film School is back on YouTube for its second season.
Great.
And they dropped 2 episodes, part 1 and part 2, with director Zack Snyder, one of my all-time favorite directors. Watchmen.
Very cool.
You know, Man of Steel. I mean, he's done so many great films, 300 over the years. So,
Sucker Punch, my personal favorite.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. So they had an extensive conversation. I guess all in all, it's probably a close to 2 hour conversation.
Wow. That's really cool.
You know, he got to ask them questions. They asked him about his directing style and how he approaches films and his background and that kind of thing. So it's an excellent interview for any film fan, but especially if you're a fan of Snyder or the Russos. You know, their Marvel films, obviously, Endgame and Infinity War and so many
Gray
others.
Man.
So, yeah. It was a really interesting conversation.
I'm glad the people who did Gray Man are making a film school.
Yeah. It's interesting. So yeah, check that out on YouTube right now. It's a lot of fun. All right, we're going to jump into the physical media report now. This is where we talk about all the physical media. You can tell from the shelves behind us, I'm a huge physical media fanatic. And so here's some of the movies coming up on the format. In May, we're going to get the Superman 5-film collection. Now, this is going to include...
That's 5 films.
Yeah, it's all the Christopher Reeve movies, including the director's cut of Superman 2, the Richard Donner cut.
Of course, the only edition.
Yes, they're going to include that one as well. All in 4K format for the very first time.
Wow.
They've got a Steelbook edition.
Okay.
And they've got a regular edition you can get.
Are they releasing them individually on 4K as well?
They will be releasing them eventually individually as well.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Cool.
So that's pretty exciting. Max Fleischer's Superman is also finally coming to Blu-ray, its own individual release.
Sweet.
I've got it in that Superman box set I have, which if you've been watching videos on the channel recently, I did a review of all my Superman movies, and that is included in the Blu-ray box set I have of the 6 Superman films, including Superman Returns, which that 4K box set won't include. But I'm glad that Fleischer's cartoons are finally getting their own release. And they've all been remastered. Very excited.
I wonder what the difference between your Blu-ray version and the new release will be.
Right. I put in my Blu-rays the other night just to see what they look like. And they're pretty rough. You know, I mean, they're not DVD quality or anything, but there's definitely, you know, heavy grain and some specks and, you know, noise. But
one of the most amazing transfers I ever saw was Batman the Animated Series.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
From DVD to Blu-ray, it looks like a new show.
Unbelievable.
So I'm hoping it'll be that drastic.
Yes, me too. Also coming up, a Marvel intrigue, Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania hitting shelves May 16th. That's your birthday. Max Fleischer Superman and Ant-Man 3 are both coming on your birthday, as well as other releases in May include Shazam Fury of the Gods and Creed 3. So all these are coming to Blu-ray and 4K in May.
That's pretty cool.
Which is pretty neat. It's going to be a very happy birthday for you.
Absolutely.
At the end of May, we're going to get some brand new 4Ks for the first time ever.
Here we go. What is it?
Starting with The Last Starfighter.
Ooh. Yeah. Good one.
Yeah. Classic 80s sci-fi. We're also getting Rain Man.
Okay.
One of the best dramas. You know, Tom Cruise, Dustin Hoffman. Excellent film.
It's on my watch list. I've yet to see it.
An all-time classic, one that you and I both adore. The Night of the Hunter. Is getting a 4K release for the first time ever.
Is this a Criterion release?
It's not. Criterion already has a release, but not on 4K. Right.
Okay.
So this will be, I think Kino Lorber is doing this one.
Interesting.
So
that's a great film.
It is. And Kino does a great job with all the releases. They just had their spring sale.
Okay.
They had a lot of movies I wanted for like $9, so I bought a bunch recently. And then the last one is not an older film, but a new film, 65, with Adam Driver. The dinosaur film is finally coming to 4K. No one went and saw this, so I don't know how it was. I didn't even see any reviews.
I saw the trailer 3 times.
Yeah.
I never saw the movie.
The trailer was great. We were excited about this. We were like, this is a great idea. And then it just came and went.
Right.
You know, very quickly. So I'll probably be renting it or streaming it, and we'll have to see how it is, see if it's any good. All right, a couple movie anniversaries I want to talk about. I do this often on the channel. And so a few movies celebrating anniversaries this week. From 1953, celebrating its 70th anniversary is Shane. One of the best Westerns of all time. A classic in every regard. Alan Ladd Jean Arthur, Van Heflin, all do a great job in this movie.
70 years old now.
70 years old.
I'm a big fan of Sheen.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorites.
Yeah, a lot of people are. James Mangold specifically, he referred to this a lot when making Logan. So this is just a great classic gunfighter story. One of the best ever made.
Classic good guys with white hats, bad guys with black hats.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Great film. Celebrating its 50th anniversary is Soylent Green. This was released in 1973. Okay. Another classic, this time of the sci-fi, dystopian sci-fi genre.
Has there been a remake of Soylent Green?
There is not, but there needs to be.
There should be.
It's one of those that needs a remake.
Yeah.
Because this is a good movie, but I think it could be improved upon. Charlton Heston's great in it. It's a great premise. And, it's one of those that has stood the test of time, but I feel like not a ton of people know about it. But, it definitely could do with a remake. Sure. I agree. All right. Next up is the film celebrating a 10th anniversary. That's Oblivion. Another classic sci-fi, this time post-apocalyptic.
Classic dad movie.
It's a dad movie, 100%. Tom Cruise, Morgan Freeman, Andrea Riseborough. Great, great cast. Stellar visuals. Joseph Kosinski, who did Top Gun Maverick, which everyone's going nuts about still. Directed this movie. This is his first collaboration with Tom Cruise. This is why he got the job on Top Gun. And this is, I think, a better movie than Top Gun Maverick. I think it's to me one of the best.
Praise.
One of the best sci-fi movies.
It is terrific.
Easily of the best, 20 years. So
did he not also do Tron Legacy?
He did Tron Legacy. Yeah, a lot of style. He's his background's in architecture.
Yeah.
So he's all about design. He's got really unique design choices and production and great visual effects, great action, just a great story. So highly recommend Oblivion.
Oblivion is like if Apple was an evil robot that took over the world.
Which it is. It's just the future.
So it's not really fiction.
Right. Exactly. All right. Well, that's it for the movie anniversaries and all the movie news. Let's jump into our top 5 Sam Raimi movies. All right, we're ready to kick things off with our top 5 Sam Raimi movies. This is a tough one because this is a director who's done a lot of movies I like.
Yes, he has a very distinct style.
He does.
It lends itself well to comic book movies, as we've seen throughout his filmography. There's a lot he's made I haven't seen.
Right.
I think he's made, over 14 movies?
Yeah.
And I've only seen maybe half of that. So.
Right. He hails from Michigan.
Okay.
He was born in the year 1959. And
really?
Yeah. So he's been making movies for quite a while, since the early 80s. And I've seen all of his movies now, except one. There's one I can't find. It's called Crime Wave.
Okay.
It's a pretty short movie. I think it's his second movie.
Sure.
Right after the first Evil Dead. It's a hard one to find. He's done several short films, but I've seen all but one of his feature films. This week I had to watch 2 that I hadn't seen before, and I greatly enjoyed both of them. So again, a director that hasn't really made a bad movie. I mean, his worst, I would say, is Oz the Great and Powerful, the prequel to Wizard of Oz, which was just kind of a bad idea that Disney, I think, roped him into. I'm sure they gave him a big paycheck.
Yeah, it was an era of live action remakes, and Wicked was very popular.
Yeah.
So I understand why it was made.
Yeah, exactly. But he's got some other ones. I really like For Love of the Game with Kevin Costner, another great Kevin Costner baseball film that he does a good job with. It's different from his typical style. We're going to talk a lot about his typical style is what he's known for.
Yeah.
He kind of broke out of that a little bit with Love of the Game. It's a lot more straightforward, kind of just sports movie. He's a huge baseball fan, so he decided to make that movie. Some other ones I enjoy that didn't quite make the top 5 include Drag Me to Hell, which I just watched. It was bonkers.
Okay.
It's an insane horror comedy.
Sounds like Evil Dead.
It is very Evil Dead. It's very over the top and outrageous and crazy.
That could have been the subtitle to Doctor Strange.
Yeah, absolutely. So that one I get a big kick out of. I also just watched The Gift, which is a supernatural crime thriller mystery.
Sounds like Darkman.
So yeah, but it's not silly. It's very straightforward, very dramatic.
Okay.
Basically no humor. Very kind of bleak and dark.
Interesting.
It's got Kate Blanchett in it and a great host of other.
When was that made?
I think it was 2000. So yeah, right before he did Spider-Man.
Yeah, interesting.
Yep, the year 2000 that one came out. So that one I enjoyed as well. Of course, we have to talk about The Evil Dead. I mean, that's just a classic. It's his first movie.
Probably his most iconic trilogy he's done.
Yeah, well, outside of Spider-Man, for sure.
Yeah, outside of Spider-Man.
Yeah, but this is pre-Spider-Man.
This is pre-Spider-Man.
Yeah, right. And it's very, the first Evil Dead is very much a straight horror film. It's really well done. It's basically him and his buddies at a cabin in the woods of Tennessee.
Yeah.
And no budget and just kind of doing it themselves. And it became this kind of cult classic.
That's where my love for Sam Raimi begins, is that he's just a guy who loves to make movies, and it's his job, and he's good at it.
Totally.
And yeah, he's a very cool filmmaker. He knows how to do what he does very well.
Yeah, he's very visual. He's very much got the camera always moving. He loves a very active cinematography style, and he does very stylish things very well. Dutch angles, quick zooms, close-ups, and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, we enjoy him a lot for his style. But when you can merge the style with substance is, I think, when we get the best of Sam Raimi.
Absolutely.
And so that's another one I wanted to mention. Did you have any more honorable mentions before we get to our top 5?
No, I don't think so. I'm ready to get into number 5.
What you got?
My number 5 pick is Army of Darkness.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I'm a big fan of Army of Darkness. This takes the pulpy B-movie horror action and meshes it with epic fantasy and 80s hair metal awesomeness.
Right.
It's a silly movie, but it's full of a lot of fun, comedy, and really engaging camera operations and practical effects. And this movie, more than maybe any of his other movies, really knows how to stretch its budget to every corner of the screen.
Totally. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's definitely one of my favorites. We'll talk about it for me later. My number 5 is Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. I had a blast with this movie in theaters. I liked it even more on rewatch at home. The 4K edition is stunning.
Interesting. This did not make my top 5 list.
Right. That's interesting.
This did not make it.
Yeah, I think it's
a little bit too new for me to be able to give it that much praise, but I enjoyed it.
I get it. I think it's one of the best Marvel Studios films since Endgame, easily.
Okay.
I think it has all of his style that we love.
Sure.
With a great story. So with a great script that really is focused on Doctor Strange and progressing his character. And I feel like it really does deal with his relationship with Christine Palmer.
Sure.
His whole idea of humility. He has to give up. He always has to be the guy with the knife in his hand.
Sure.
He has to give that up and let America Chavez help him save the world.
Right. America Chavez, I think, is where this movie shines.
It does.
I mean, she's the character. She has the growth. She has the development.
Right, but they help each other. They really do help each other.
They do, to an extent.
In big ways. And Wanda's storyline in this, I really enjoy. I know a lot of people thought it felt like it came out of nowhere. I thought it was the logical next step.
WandaVision didn't get it.
I thought it was the logical next step, for her character, especially after what we saw in WandaVision.
Scarlet Witch has always been a villain.
Totally. And so I get a big kick out of this. The visuals, again, I can't stress enough how stunning they are. The visual effects finally look great in a Marvel film. Yeah. It's very colorful.
I watched
it very fun.
Endgame recently.
Yeah.
And what annoyed me most about it was the final battle is just a big, muddy, gray mess. Right. You can't tell who anyone is or what's going on. Right. And it's really annoying. But this has great flair, great color,
definitely.
Very intense, epic character depths, and awesome dramatic stakes and action.
Yeah. And it builds tension. Towards the end, I mean, it's just incredible. So I had a blast watching it again. I watched it with the commentary.
Okay.
Which included the producer, the writer, and Sam Raimi.
Sweet.
And so we got a lot of insight. It was quite eye-opening. They mentioned several times of course, extraordinary producer Kevin Feige.
Oh, Kevin Feige.
And
I thought you were going to say the other extraordinary
no,
producer.
we'll talk about him in a minute. But no, they brought up several times like, oh yeah, Kevin wanted me to cut this, but I fought for it. He let me keep it. That kind of stuff, which I think is great because it shows that Feige respects Raimi, right? I mean, he was working on these early Spider-Man movies as an assistant,
but it also shows that he does that,
right?
In pretty much every
and most directors will give in to him, but Raimi didn't, and Raimi has the clout, and he respects Raimi enough to let him put his vision on screen, which I feel like is what we got here. So. That's why I like this and why I think it stands out because it is a Sam Raimi movie before it's a Kevin Feige movie.
Sure.
Whereas a lot of the recent MCU movies feel like it's the opposite. So yeah, that's my number 5 pick. Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange becomes Army of Darkness zombie and gets a cloak of the dead. Pretty Sam Raimi.
Yeah, absolutely. It's great. All right, what's your number 4?
My number 4 is The Quick and the Dead.
Ooh, see, this is in my top 10, but it didn't quite make my top 5. It's a lot of fun.
To me, this movie is very simple.
Yeah.
Because the best part of every Western is the final shootout. And this movie is 2 hours of final shootout. It's truly epic.
Yeah, it is.
Truly epic. Yeah. It's a Western town of gunslingers who are coming around from all over, all parts of this Western town, all prove who's the best gunslinger.
Exactly.
And it has a good emotional heart with the protagonist. The villain is
so good. He has a great relationship thing too going on. Gene Hackman, Leonardo DiCaprio.
Leonardo DiCaprio is great in this.
Sharon Stone. I mean, they're all excellent, and he utilizes his style so well. Clearly he's a fan of westerns because of these close-ups of the eyes. Totally. We even see it in Doctor Strange a couple times.
We see it all over the place.
Close-ups of the eyes and reaction shots, whipping the camera around, panning around. All of it fits the western genre so well, and especially this highly stylized film that he's making.
And it's interesting because you think about classic spaghetti westerns like Fistful of Dollars and Good and the Bad and the Ugly, and those movies are constantly lingering. The camera feels like it's lingering on people and on things, and things take their time and they have space to breathe.
Yeah.
This is very fast, very instant.
Yes.
Even when we're building anticipation, we're still quickly like, what's going to happen? We're getting nervous and things are almost ramping up in speed.
Yeah.
So, using his style and implementing his breakneck pace into a Western, I think actually was a breath of fresh air for the genre.
Definitely. Faster, more intense. For sure.
Yes.
Yep. Good stuff. All right. Well, my number 4. What?
And no Avi Arad in that one.
That's right. My number 4 is a film I just watched last night for the first time. A Simple Plan. A Simple Plan
cool.
is a Sam Raimi movie from 1998. So, between his Spider-Man and Evil Dead phases. This is another very straightforward, very serious, dramatic crime thriller where 2 brothers and one of their friends stumble across a bunch of money in the woods.
Cool.
In a crashed plane, and they got to figure out, what are we going to do with the money? Are we going to turn it in? Are we going to keep it? Are we going to try to find the owners? Okay. What's going on? What's the deal?
Interesting.
It's very much one of those moral conundrums that the characters find themselves in.
Cool.
And their lives just unravel. I mean, it is so crazy what happens to these characters, the journey they go on. It feels, a lot of people mention it feels kind of like a Coen Brothers movie.
Sure. It sounds like you're describing
Fargo, Big Lebowski, No Country for Old Men. It's that kind of vibe. But it's Sam Raimi's style. I mean, he's restraining his crazy style, of course, but it's very much him. It's very much builds intensity. The characters are just so three-dimensional. The performances are great. Billy Bob Thornton, Bill Paxton, the late Bill Paxton, Bridget Fonda, just a lot of great actors here, all doing wonderful job in their roles. You really care about them and their characters and what they're going through, and you understand their dilemmas and just great storytelling.
Interesting.
Highly recommend it. It's very good. So yeah, Simple Plan had to make the list, even though I've only seen it once. It's one of those movies that kind of stays with you.
Cool.
And so I had to make the list.
Great. My number 3 is Evil Dead 2.
Oh, okay. Evil Dead 2. So I've got the 2-pack. Evil Dead 1 and 2 right there. And yeah, 2, it takes it to another level.
It ups the insanity.
Yes. Yes.
Most sequels up the ante.
Right.
This ups the insanity.
Exactly. Yeah, it's horror film infused with tons of outlandish comedy.
Slapstick comedy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It's
100%.
a weird combo that you really, if anyone said, I'm going to make a slapstick horror movie, you'd be like, that's ridiculous. That'll never work. Those two genres are diametrically opposed, but it totally works.
It's a very, very fun movie to watch.
Yeah.
But it also feels very dangerous and scary and like crazy.
Right.
And it definitely takes the psychological breakdown of a character who's been through a horror movie.
Right.
And makes the whole world as crazy as they are getting.
Yes. Yes.
So yeah, Evil Dead 2 is so much fun to watch. My jaw was on the floor the whole time it was playing.
Right.
The amount of blood and gore in that movie is so absurd and hilarious.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Bruce Campbell's performance is crazy good.
It is.
All the effects are amazing.
He should have been a big star.
He should have. Absolutely, I agree. But yeah, he at least gets to pop up in every one of the Sam Raimi stuff, so we can always look forward to that. Great pick. That was your number 3. My number 3 is Darkman. I have a blast with Darkman.
Oh, okay, interesting. Darkman's actually my number 2.
Oh, okay. So we'll both just talk about it right now. Darkman is what if Sam Raimi tried to make a Batman?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
He wanted to make a Batman movie.
Yep.
The studio wouldn't let him, so he's like, all right, I'll just create my own Superman.
Yeah. He made this insane concoction of this broken scientist monster man who looks like a monster.
Yeah.
And this
very Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde.
Exactly. Yeah. Very Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde.
Yeah.
The movie has a great style.
Yep.
It combines all of his slapstick comedy slapstick comedy and internal insanity of Evil Dead.
Right.
With his superhero-isms of the Spider-Man trilogy.
Sure.
So those big bombastic action sequences and big, exciting shots and frames.
Right.
And montages that we get from the Spider-Man movies kind of come down with that Evil Dead insanity and fun. So I really like Darkman.
Yeah, great pick. I really like Liam Neeson in it, Frances McDormand. Some great optical effects, great makeup effects. It's just really fun. It's tight. It's efficient. It's scary and it's funny and it's got action and anything you could want from a comic book movie. This is, before he did Spider-Man, this is his first foray into the comic book genre. And I like that it's a creation of his own, so he can really do whatever he wants with it.
Right. And no source material to draw from.
Right. And so, it's a lot of fun. All right, so that was your number 2. My number 2 is Army of Darkness.
Okay.
So Army of Darkness is one of my all-time favorite movies.
That's great.
It is so much fun. It is super silly. It leans more into the comedy than Evil Dead 2 did. We call it Medieval Dead because that was the original title.
Superior title.
Correct. And so, Bruce Campbell gets to show off more of his silly zaniness here. It's all...
But he's kind of... It's interesting because Evil Dead 2, he's pretty much alone the whole movie.
Right. Here he gets to interact.
Here it's like he's putting on this persona on these other people.
Right,
because after having seen the first 2, we know he was just a regular guy.
Right.
And then he went crazy.
Yes.
And now he's trying to build himself up as this superhero figure guy.
Yeah.
It's a really, really fun character and interesting how he develops throughout that movie.
Definitely. It's a lot of fun. It's all, the medieval times and there's fighting skeletons and it just reminds you of, Jason and the Argonauts and all the best kind of fantasy medieval storytelling mixed with this kind of just irreverent style. That's just a blast. I could watch it all day. It's so much fun. So, all right. So that's my number 2, Army of Darkness. What is your number 1?
Mine is yours. Number 1 is Spider-Man 2.
Spider-Man 2. There was no other choice. It is one of the greatest all-time films, one of the greatest comic book films, superhero movies.
It definitely defines the genre of comic book movies for me. It's that manic fun you get from a superhero movie combined with the man behind the hero, the heart, and the sacrifice a hero has to make to become a hero.
And we should really probably talk about the whole trilogy. I mean, we've got the whole trilogy here on Blu-ray. I know you have the big box set, which includes the editor's cut of Spider-Man 3, which is well worth checking out if you haven't. So, look, this whole trilogy is just a great trilogy. I've rewatched them all recently. Spider-Man 3 I watched twice this past week because I watched the theatrical cut with the commentary with Sam Raimi and the cast.
Cool.
And then I decided, I have to see this editor's cut you've been talking about.
Which is,
you saw it like a year ago.
From now on, it's the only version I'll ever watch.
Me too.
It was better in every way.
It was stunning. It bumped it up like 2 whole stars for me. Yeah. It's actually, I think, a good movie. I would say Spider-Man 3 theatrical cut it didn't always work for me. There were elements of it that I liked, some I didn't. The editor's cut kind of basically fixed all the problems I had. And, even the stuff it gets ridiculed for, I think it works really well in the movie, and it fits with the style of those other films.
Right.
So
it does.
All feels very Raimi. It's the movie that the studio was most involved with. Obviously, they gave him certain mandates. You have to put Venom in.
Uncle Avi Arad.
Avi Arad came in and
stepped in.
Yeah, he
got his grubby little hands on Venom. Said, "Let's do a Venom movie."
Right.
I'm not doing a Venom movie. I'm doing a Sandman movie.
The fans want the Venom. They've always wanted Venom. He has to be in there, or you're not making a Spider-Man 3 without the Venom. And so
you have a great story about Sandman, his daughter, and
you got to put Venom.
What it means with Peter reconciling with the man who killed his uncle.
I don't care. You need Venom. People love Venom. So he threw Venom in, and look,
Avi knows all.
Avi knows all. But look, he put Venom in I think the best way he could. Eddie Brock in this movie is a dark reflection of Peter. So it does tie in thematically as well as it can, And look, I think it works. I think it works.
I don't know why we're talking about Spider-Man 3. Spider-Man 2 is our pick.
I don't know, but
Spider-Man 3...
We just had to talk about it.
Defend it.
Raimi movie.
I like the emo Peter Parker because that's exactly what...
It's what a nerd thinks
Peter Parker
is.
thinks a cool guy would be. When the symbiote takes away your preconceived, your
inhibitions are gone.
Your inhibitions are gone completely. That's what you look like. That's what you become.
Right. You become a fool.
Yeah.
It's great. It's great stuff with MJ, Gwen Stacy, Harry. It all comes full circle. The Sandman stuff's great.
Spider-Man 1 has perfect template for an origin story.
Great origin story, absolutely.
The parallels between the hero and villain throughout the whole movie is genius.
Yeah.
Having their origins take place kind of at the same time, kind of for the same reasons,
right?
Is really cool.
Yeah.
There's also, he doesn't really become Spider-Man until later on. Really, Spider-Man 2 is when he really becomes Spider-Man, if you think about it. But there's just some really, really fun classic superhero awesomeness that we get from this whole trilogy.
I agree.
And that's, I think, why it stood the test of time as like the best superhero trilogy.
Right.
Because of Raimi's style and sensibilities and his love for comic book and how those two artistic worlds combined to create this awesome new version of Spider-Man. He's really not like Spider-Man from the comics. He's very different.
Yes.
But it works for this story specifically.
Yeah, it's very very well done on every level. Technically, the technical wizardry is amazing. Special effects that
Willem Dafoe
still hold up. Willem Dafoe is a special effect. I mean, he's just an incredible actor.
Movies are special effects.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, the Spider-Man trilogy stands up as one of the best ever. Spider-Man 2 is the best of the trilogy because it has all the elements that you want in a great movie, in a great Spider-Man movie, in a great story.
This is not just, as the great Roger Ebert said in his review, this is not just a great superhero movie.
Right.
This is just good movie.
Exactly. Absolutely.
Because it's all about the relationship between Peter and MJ and 100%. Doc Ock and Peter's balance of this work and social life that he's trying to do.
Yeah, what it means to be a hero, sacrifice. I mean, it's all there, all the themes, everything.
So little action, but when we get it, it's big,
and it's memorable and it's exciting,
iconic
it's
action.
Fun to watch.
The fight on the train,
The train fight
stops the train. It
holds up as one of the best action sequences in
film.
I
totally agree.
Amazing.
Even the final battle in the big copper dock. Where the sun device is operating. He's doing all these cool things on the rafters.
Right. Or the bank fight, or
the bank fight is amazing. I love the gold coins.
Even when he's not Spidey, he runs into the burning building. That's a very intense, exciting sequence.
Spider-Man 2 is one of the most important movies for my generation.
I agree.
Because it took all of the nerdy comic book fans and showed them that it's not just cool, it's artistic and meaningful.
Yeah.
Because there's emotion here and there's lessons to be learned. And this is what art does, and this is what cinema can do. So yeah, a lot of filmmakers, younger filmmakers, have been heavily influenced by the Spider-Man trilogy.
Yeah, absolutely, for good reason. So, all right, folks, well, that's it for our Sam Raimi podcast, our top 5 Sam Raimi movies. Let us know your top 5 in the comments below. Hit the like button, hit subscribe, hit the bell so you get notified of all our videos. Thanks, Carson, for joining us again.
Thanks for having me, Cameron. It was great. Great fun.
It was fun. One of our favorite filmmakers. It's always fun to talk about your favorite directors and why you like them and how they've influenced you and that kind of thing. So, yeah, it was a lot of fun. Hope you guys enjoyed it as much as we did. We'll see you next time right here on The Real World.